dwell in a house among his people. But now he has a home that's better than the first. It doesn't look like a building with a steeple. Now he's living in the people of the church. Brick after brick, God is building his temple. Brick after brick, he's making it strong. With Christ the sure foundation and his people as the stones, he is building a place he can live. Brick after brick.
Getting ready for the Word of God this morning, I want to call your attention to the book of Proverbs, the 3rd chapter, and I'm reading from the New International Version. My son, do not forget my teaching, but keep my commandments in your heart. For they will prolong your life many years and bring you peace and prosperity. Let love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Then you will win favor and a good name in the sight of God and man. Then you will win favor. I want to speak this morning from the subject of the power of favor. The power of favor. Last week we delivered a message on the right side of favor. And if you weren't here to hear that message, I would encourage you to look it up on our YouTube channel, as it will complement what we are going to hear today. I want to continue that thought and build upon that idea. Last week, we looked at the life of Mephibosheth and how God showed him favor. A crippled man tucked away in hiding. And through favor, he is exalted to the right hand of the king and adopted into the king's family, the recipient of favor. When we look, there were many people of God who came into favor. Noah, Joseph, Daniel, Esther, Ruth. All of these were recipients of God's favor. Last week, we discussed how grace is often defined as God's unmerited and undeserving favor toward sinful man, a good and fitting definition. But it might cause you to see grace and favor as being one in the same. And while they are often used interchangeably, there is a fine line difference. Because you can never earn grace. You can never deserve grace. But favor is a response to your words and actions. It's how God responds to your life. When we look even in the life of Jesus, Jesus grew in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man. It was something that he obtained, not something that he just necessarily had, being the Son of God. A good man obtains favor from the Lord, but a man of wicked intentions he will condemn. Favor is obtained. You don't have favor just because you're born again. You don't have favor just because you're a Christian. Favor is something that you pursue. And there are things that you can do that will invite God's favor into your life. Favor is the endorsement of God in your life. It's God's endorsement. Now, understand, favor is a response. It is not a payment. Favor is not a payment for you living right. You don't get favor just because you don't commit fornication. You're not supposed to be committing fornication. You're not rewarded for that. You're supposed to be living holy. Paul says, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. You're supposed to live holy. So you don't get favor just because you stop smoking, drinking, and swearing. You're not supposed to be doing those things anyway. That's not how favor is obtained. Favor is God's channels of blessings designed for your growth and advancement. It's how God gets his blessings to you. It's the pipeline that he uses to grow you and to advance you. Now, as we look into some of the more practical elements of favor and how one actually gets it and how one manages to keep it, I find one of the biggest mistakes that Christians make is the sense or the idea that they don't need anybody. God will give me favor. I don't need you. It's me and Jesus. And as long as I have Jesus, I'll have his grace, his favor, his blessings without anybody else. And that's a mistake. It's naive and it will cost you. Now, I understand that there are many situations where it seems like no one else is involved and yet God sends his blessings. We all have those stories. I was headed toward the mall, but I got delayed only to find out that there was a horrific accident on the highway. Didn't involve anybody else, yet God worked out your circumstance for you. I get it. We all experience that. We all have stories like that. However, most of God's favor will come through people. And that's something that we really need to grab a hold of. Esther received God's favor through the king. Now, the king was attracted to Esther more than to any of the other women, and she won his favor and approval more than any of the other virgins. God sent his favor through the king. The people that God uses don't even have to be saved people, but he will use other people. In the story of Ruth, then she said, I have found favor in your eyes, my Lord, for you have comforted me and spoken kindly to your servant, though I am not one of your servants. Daniel. Now God caused the official to show favor and compassion to Daniel. So God gives Daniel favor, but he uses the Babylonian official to get him that favor. Even when we look at the early church, with all of their persecution and suffering that they endured, it says every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. We often take it as a badge of honor that nobody likes us, that nobody wants to be around us. And we think that that's a sign of our holiness. But no matter how holy you are, somebody ought to like you. And maybe because nobody wants to be around you has nothing to do with you being a Christian, but might have everything to do with you just being obnoxious. Well, I'm preaching hard now. So God uses other people to get favor into our lives. In the series Roots, Simon Haley, a poor man trying to make it ahead and advance his family.
Porter, sir. Can I help you, sir?
Yes, my wife is having a little trouble sleeping. I wondered if the dining car was still open, if we could get a glass of hot milk.
No, sir. Dining car won't be open till breakfast. But I've got a spirit lamp back in my locker. I could warm up some milk for the lady.
Well, that's very kind of you. Thank you very much. What's your name?
George. Just call me George. George do fine.
No, I mean your own name.
Simon. My name is Simon Haley.
Thank you, Simon Haley. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
George.
Thank you, sir.
Watch your step getting off.
Watch your step getting off.
Watch your step. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. This is my business card. I'm with Curtis Publishing. This is for you as well. Thank you again.
Simon Haley. I know why you called me in, President Harper. I admit I registered for this term with only half enough money to pay for the tuition, but...
Now, hold on.
Well, I'm going to get a job. I know the college can't keep anyone who doesn't pay on time, but I promise you, sir, I will earn the money for the rest of the term.
Now, what makes you think you owe any money for tuition?
Well, I only...
Your entire year has been paid for in advance.
There must be some mistake.
No, I have it right here. The letter registering Simon Haley for a full year with tuition paid for in advance by certified check. Plus a stipend, room, board, books.
What? Well, he gave me $5 once.
Oh, gave you a lot more than that. You have nothing to worry about except your studies.
You never know who God will use, what circumstances he will use to get you his favor. Joseph is known as a strong recipient of God's favor. And the patriots, jealous of Joseph, sold him into Egypt. But God was with him and rescued him out of all his afflictions and gave him favor and wisdom before Pharaoh, king of Egypt, who made him ruler over Egypt and over all his household. But how did God get that favor to Joseph? Joseph found favor in his eyes and became his attendant. Potiphar put him in charge of his household, and he entrusted to his care everything he owned. So Joseph got favor through Potiphar. Even when he was wrongfully imprisoned, the Lord was with him and showed him kindness and granted him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. Again, these are people that are extending to Joseph God's favor. When he is finally exalted to the right hand of Pharaoh, then Pharaoh said to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, but without your word, no one will lift hand or foot in all Egypt. Think about the story of Israel leaving Egypt in the wilderness and making a golden calf. Have you ever wondered where'd they get the gold from? These were slaves. These weren't businessmen. They were runaway slaves. They didn't get paid for their labor. Where did they get gold, enough gold to make an idol? Well, when you go back in the story, it says, I will give this people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. And it shall be when you go that you shall not go empty-handed. When the people of Israel left Egypt, the Egyptians gave them money. That's where they got the gold from. And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. Not everybody hated the Jews. Pharaoh did, but not everybody. God gave them favor through the Egyptians. Moreover, the man Moses was very great in the land of Egypt, in the sight of Pharaoh's servants and in the sight of the people. Pharaoh couldn't stand Moses, but his servants liked him. The Egyptians were impressed with him. So God gets his favor to us through different people. So where are these people? How do we find the right people? How do we know who God is trying to use to get us favor? Well, it's a mistake to assume that everyone who treats you nice or gives you stuff must be someone that God is trying to get us favor. That's not necessarily the case. Sometimes people do for you because they're trying to manipulate you. Some people who want something for you often just want something from you. So don't get carried away with anyone who just all of a sudden is really nice to you. That's not the only thing to measure. Here are some questions to ask yourself. Who's willing to invest in you? Who's willing to take time with you and your issues, the things that you are concerned about? Who creates opportunities for you? Who's quick to forgive you? Some folks, you mess up once, you're done. They want nothing to do with you. Who's quick to forgive you? Who tolerates you? Who puts up with you? Who puts up with all of your quirks, all of your misdeeds? Who tolerates you? Who's willing to give you a first, second, third, fourth chance? These are the questions that you want to ask. When you find people like this, that's someone that you want to keep your eye on. We go back to the story of Ruth. At this, she bowed down with her face to the ground. She asked him, Boaz, why have I found such favor in your eyes that you notice me, a foreigner? Ruth asked the question, why do you like me? What is it about me? Why are you being nice to me? Isn't that the question we're asking this morning? Well, Boaz actually gave her an answer. Boaz replied, I've been told all about what you've done for your mother-in-law. Since the death of your husband, how you left your father and mother and your homeland and came to live with a people you did not know before. Boaz says, you want to know why? Because I heard about you. I heard how you treated your mother-in-law. I saw how you behaved, how you conducted yourself with her. What produces favor? Honor. Honor brings you favor. Ruth honored Naomi. Now, we all know that story. Very nice of Ruth. That famous verse that we all know, but Ruth replied, don't urge me to leave you and turn back from you. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. So Ruth is displaying her honor. Honor will gain you access, and access can lead to favor. Honor gets you in the room. Honor opens that door. Now, honor is not pandering or catering. It's not being a phony. It's not pandering to someone who you think might be able to do something for you. In the story of Ruth, she honored her mother-in-law, Naomi. Naomi says, "Don't call me Naomi," she told them. "Call me Myra, because the Almighty has made my life very bitter." The name Naomi means pleasant. She says, "Don't call me that anymore. Call me Myra," which means bitter. By her own definition, she's a bitter old lady. Imagine what it's like living with someone who admits being bitter. So it's not always easy to honor certain people, but honor will gain you that access. What is honor? Thankfulness is proof of honor. Gratitude is proof of honor. Praise is proof of honor. The Lord talked to me some time ago, and he says to me, "Do you think your wife is supposed to prepare you meals and feed you every day?" And of course, I'm thinking, she's not. So brothers, husbands, to say thank you for this meal. My gosh, this meal looks so good today. Thank you for what you're doing. I'm going to start doing that. I'm a sick man. You know, a couple of weeks ago, we lost a very talented actor, a young man who made some very impressive movies and became a superstar under the movie of The Black Panther, an international blockbuster movie. And he died at a very young age with colon cancer. And as stories were coming out about him, before he became a superstar, before anybody knew him, he had an opportunity to go to an acting program. And it turns out that Denzel Washington paid his way.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chadwick Boseman.
Many of you already know the story that Mr. Washington, when asked by Phylicia Rashad to join her in assisting 9 theater students from Howard University who had been accepted to a summer acting program at the British Academy of Dramatic Acting in Oxford, he gracefully and privately agreed to contribute. As fate would have it, I was one of the students that he paid for. Imagine receiving a letter that your tuition for that summer was paid for and that your benefactor was none other than the dopest actor on the planet. There is no Black Panther without Denzel Washington.
Genuine honor never gets old. What produces favor? Integrity. Integrity is who you are when no one is watching, because God is always watching. Look at the life of Joseph again. Joseph found favor in his eyes and became his attendant. Potiphar put him in charge of his household, and he entrusted to his care everything he owned. Joseph was trustworthy. Joseph was reliable. Joseph had integrity. When he was in prison, and he interpreted 2 dreams from 2 different people, he didn't fudge his interpretation with the hopes that he might get something out of it. He told them straight up, you are going to be found innocent and released. You, on the other hand, are going to be found guilty and executed. He was a man of integrity. So when Joseph advances through Egypt, it wasn't just because he had a gift. A gift will get you through the door. Integrity will keep you in the room. We think that our gifts just opens the doors for us and makes the way. It's a starting point. But if you don't have integrity, it doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how smart you are. Integrity gains you favor. Look at some Christians. They have one persona when they come to church for 1 hour. You get a certain impression of that Christian when he's in this building. But when he gets home all week long, he's a whole nother person. Integrity. There's some people that have one persona when they're in church and a whole nother person on Facebook. And you read some of the posts and you question yourself, is this the same person that goes to my church every Sunday? Where is that disconnect? Integrity. Can you be relied on? James says, above all, my brethren, do not swear either by heaven or by earth or by any other oath, but let your yes be yes and your no, no, lest you fall into judgment. Can you be relied on? When you say you're going to do something, are you going to do it? Do you say something and then someone has to chase you down to follow up on it? Can I believe when you say something? When you give a report? Is it true? Is it accurate? Or do I have to investigate it and find out the rest of the story? Integrity. Integrity gains you favor. What produces favor? Servanthood. Who do you bless? Who do you invest in? Who do you take some time for? Who do you help when others are hurting? What do you do for someone other than yourself? There's a very powerful truth found in Ephesians, the 6th chapter. Paul says, knowing that whatever good anyone does, he will receive the same from the Lord, whether he is a slave or free. Now, that kind of sounds a lot like the golden rule. Do unto others what you would have them do unto you. But actually, it's a little different than the golden rule. He says, any good thing that you do, God will do for you. So what you do for others, God will do for you. So if I bless somebody financially, God will take care of my finances. If I encourage somebody who's hurting, God will encourage me. God will give me what I give to others. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. It's what you sow, not to whom you sow, not where you sow, but what you sow. Very important distinction, because you can bless somebody, they never say thank you. You could do something for someone, they never appreciate it. You help somebody out, and they'll stab you in the back down the road. But what you sow, God will do for you. So when I bless somebody, I'm not looking for the reward to come from you. I'm looking for my reward to come from God. And that's why I do it. I'm not doing it to gain your appreciation. You may not ever appreciate it. But if I do the right thing, God will take care of me. Sowing favor brings favor. Favor is transferable. When we looked at the story of Mephibosheth, he was blessed and raised up not because of him. Don't be afraid, David said, for I will surely show you kindness for the sake of your father Jonathan. I will restore to you all the land that belongs to your grandfather Saul, and you will always eat at my table. Why? Because of what you did? No. I'm going to bless you because Jonathan blessed me. Oh, hallelujah. Joseph, again, favor is transferable. And the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessings of the Lord was on all that he had in the house and in the field. So because Joseph got favor, everyone around him got favor. Think about the story of Zacchaeus, which we looked at a couple of weeks ago. Zacchaeus was a man that nobody liked. And they got mad at Jesus for talking to him. He's talking to a tax collector. Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, "Look, Lord, here and now I give half my possessions to the poor, and if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount," which he did. So now everybody in that town is blessed and favored because Zacchaeus got favor. Even the people that didn't like him are now being blessed. Favor is transferable. However, favor invites envy. Favor will bring trouble into your life, as it did in the life of Joseph. Here comes that dreamer, they said to each other. So, who needs favor then? If favor is going to bring me enemies, if favor is going to bring envious people into my life, why do I want it? What can I do with it? Favor will give you in one day what would otherwise take you years to acquire. That's why we pursue favor. Favor will make your trials and struggles easier. When you have God's favor in your life, you're not exempt from troubles. You're not exempt from pain. But your pain and suffering is a whole lot easier with God's favor than without. The temptations in your life are no different from what others experience. And God is faithful. He will not allow the temptation to be more than what you can stand. When you are tempted, He will show you a way out so that you can endure. Favor comes to those who seek it. You don't get it just because you're born again. It's pursued. I sought your favor with all my heart. Have mercy on me according to your word. Blessed are those who listen to me, watching daily at my doors, waiting at my doorway. For those who find me find life and receive favor from the Lord. As we said last week, favor is not extended to those who need it. We all need favor. We all could use favor. Favor is extended to those who value it. But let all who take refuge in you be glad. Let them ever sing for joy. Spread your protection over them, that those who love your name may rejoice in you. Surely the Lord will bless the righteous. You surround them with your favor as with a shield. When God sends his favor, the sons of foreigners shall build your walls, and their kings shall minister to you. For in my wrath I struck you, but in my favor I have had mercy on you. Favor will take you further than anything else. When you have God's favor, it will take you further than what your resume says. When you have God's favor, it doesn't matter who's in your corner. When you have God's favor, your trials will be easier to endure. When you have God's favor, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. I seek God's favor. If there's nothing else in my life, Lord, give me your favor. Because when I have your favor, I can stand against the temptations of the world. When I have God's favor, no demon in hell can turn me around. It's God's favor that will cause me to march forward and to go through. When I feel like giving up, Lord, give me your favor. There's power in your favor. I can stand against the enemy in your favor. I can march and go forward when I have God's favor. When I'm in the favor of God, I can lift my hands and know that God will never leave me and he'll never forsake me. Sickness might come around me, but if I have God's favor, I can press my way on. There's power in his favor. There's power. There's power in the favor of God.
Brick after brick, God is building his temple. Brick after brick, he is making it strong. With Christ the sure foundation and his people as the stones, he is building a place